from working at Disney Palace to going down to the slums of Glitch. But why, my friends? There are many things that Disney hides from the public. And the recent series, The Knights of Guinevere, gave us a clue about what Dana Terrace, the creator of the Owl House, went through. In this evil corporate industry that Disney has become, if you didn't notice these details and the criticism made against the evil little mouse in this new Glitch series, then get ready, because you're definitely going to be blown away. Let's start with the part about moving from Disney to Glitch. How is that even possible? Wouldn't that be a dream come true? Doesn't everyone want to work here in this magical world where arguments look like this? Luis, you look like an elephant's trunk. Are those your basketball stats? Want to get offensive, dude? Tyler! Guys, how's that? Well, no, guys. Here's the story. Dana Terrace, the creator of the Owl House, was happily working on the series when she suddenly had the great idea to include lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender characters. But for some reason that seemed very strange. Disney told her no. What? And here's where it gets interesting, guys. After the huge backlash that practically all of Disney's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender projects received, there were about 200 of them completely traumatized, and basically they told my girl, no way, not at all. Basically, all of us together traumatized these gentlemen of diarrhea. And well, Dana Terrace got really upset about this, and with good reason. After so much Pride stuff they kept putting out as if their lives depended on it, she decided to go to a small studio that really resonated with her wild ideas. Although these weren't all the things that made her leave Disney's magical paradise for Glitch. But anyway, with the references we're going to review today in Knights of Guinevere, we'll see that it all makes sense. From the moment the episode starts, we notice the clear reference to Disney. A narrator begins to speak. Just like the old Disney movies talk about a princess who lives locked up in a tower. And the most interesting thing about all this is that it mentions machines that run on blood and fear, something whose meaning we'll see later in real life. We know that the princess is named Olivia, who approaches her father, Oliver Park, who, as his name suggests, gives her a park. A really fancy birthday to make up for a dark past that we don't know much about yet. But have you paid attention to this park? It's pretty much as it looks, Disney's park, where according to Mr. Park, he tells us it's a world of possibilities where dreams come true. And it's here where they start to show us that on the outside, Disney seems to be a world of happiness and fantasy, but what's really inside? Later on, we see that Princess Guinevere is so broken that she doesn't believe this, so she throws herself into the void and Olivia repairs her again. The curious thing is that we see that even though she's a robot, she has blue blood. But throughout all these scenes, they showed us how, little by little, Princess Guinevere went from being loved to being hated by everyone. Very similar to what happens to actors, or even Disney projects, and this is confirmed by the following references to Disney princesses. Honestly, I only recognize The Little Mermaid. If you could help us figure out what the other references are, we would really appreciate it. Before moving on, we noticed that Guinevere felt pain when Olivia pulled her belly before she jumped. With this, they make us understand that she wasn't just a robot before, she was a person. Time passes, and we meet our two protagonists, Frankie and Andy. They sneak into the amusement park and meet Princess Guinevere. Frankie looks at her with great excitement because she's a big fan of the princess. She fixes one of the princess's damaged fingers, and the princess thanks her. Years go by and we see two adult versions. In this part, we realize how polluted their world is, and that society is really upset with the company. Besides, Andy is exploited for working as a helper. This is where we see how similar Don Parquet's company is to Disney. They took over the whole world with nothing but fantasies. And I think Andy and Frankie are representations of Dana Terrace. Because even though she was a director and creator, that didn't mean anything compared to higher positions. She was basically a puppet. This connects a lot with the story. While Andy works at the company, Frankie works at a doll factory and collects trash that falls from the amusement park. And Andy, just for working in that place, they blame her because she contributes to the pollution. But tell us, how true is this? Is she really guilty just for working to survive? Well, I think this is a situation that many people who work not only at Disney but also at similar companies suffer from. And it's really not that easy to get out of there and find another job, you know why? Fear and blood. Fear of not finding such a well-paid job, and blood for the suffering they might go through if they end up with nothing. Anyway, later on, Frankie finds Guinevere's body all torn up, missing an eye, a leg, and her skin is ripped off. Sparky wants to sell Guinevere for parts, and here we realize that for companies, it's easy to get rid of their pets. That, just as they can represent pure things, they can also be distorted because of corporate greed. Frankie wanted to repair Guinevere so he could get promoted and become clever like Andy, but Sparky won't let him and locks Guinevere in a warehouse. But Frankie, totally out of it, imagines the 3 little forest animals from Bambi, who convince her to go ahead and fix the princess. At that moment, Andy arrives, and Frankie convinces her to rescue Guinevere and repair her in one of the labs where they assemble the animatronics. When they're about to recover her, Sparky surprises them, and they make a deal where he lets them take her, but once she's repaired, they have to bring her back so he can sell her. And we can see that Frankie is missing 2 teeth, and it's implied that Sparky took them out. Then they go down to the lower labs to repair Guinevere, where all the projects are sent. But they're chased by a giant knight and end up in an explosion, where Andy and Frankie end up unconscious. Luckily, they're rescued by Guinevere. It seems like Frankie and Guinevere have a connection. It's special. Possibly, in this scene, Dana wanted to show us what few people know about working with Disney. All the projects that were once popular and then forgotten can still be useful in the eyes of a malevolent company, where the only thing that matters is making money. Even though they're old projects, they don't let them go at all and look for ways to squeeze every last cent out of them, no matter how they do it. Your luck, do you see a remake, a new adaptation? But those who are behind the scenes, in not so high positions, let's say the marginalized ones, know how much you suffer working on this. At the end of the episode, we see how the 2 protagonists start repairing Guinevere and give her the missing parts. Possibly Princess Guinevere is the pure representation of all the projects and ideas Dana had to forget while working with Disney. And now, little by little, she has finally been rebuilding them. Anyway, this first episode left us speechless. What seemed like a princess story ended up being a brutal critique of the corporate world, with androids that bleed, amusement parks hiding dark truths, and characters who just want to survive in a system that crushes them. Guinevere is not just a robot, she's the reflection of what happens when companies take over everything, even our emotions. Lass and Andy show 2 ways to resist. One through hard work and the other from inside the beast. What detail did you notice that no one else saw? What? Leave it in the comments and give it a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe to keep discovering the secrets behind the Knights of Guinevere.